And greetings, everybody, and welcome to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. It's the Henderson Metal Fall Classic, and our match for you today. Mark Kean is taking on Mike McEwen. Should be a good one. Team McEwen throwing the green stones, and Daniel Marsh gets it underway. Center guard up. Joined today by Terry Corbin. Terry, how are you?
I'm great, Hans. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
Perfect. Long day.
Well, that's kind of the way it is, isn't it? And
That's right.
big cash feels like this, it's a grind, but
Yes.
should be a really good game here.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Team Keane as well as Team McEwen, so I'm looking forward to this.
Nice come around draw there. Just biting, well, full 4 foot, not quite biting front button, but yeah, good 2/3 hidden behind that center guard. We watched the pregame warm-ups. Just a little bit more than 4 feet of curl here.
Yeah, I've really liked the late finish, and the speed looks fantastic.
It sure does.
I've always been a McEwen fan, and you know, his struggles to get to a Brier were seemed to be forever. Stoughton was always in his way, or or somebody was always in his way, but mainly Jeff. And I love this lineup that he's got the last 2 years. This year and last, I think this is a good mix, and he's such a good thrower.
Oh, yeah, it's hard not to be a fan of Mike McEwen. The guy makes circus shots, unbelievable shots, and yeah, it is so solid up and down the lineup. I've watched them a lot too, and gotta say, no matter how many times I've seen this team, I still have a hard time picking Kevin and Daniel apart. But other than that,
Yes.
it's a fantastic lineup. Colton Flash, when he gets hot,
Yes.
that's the thing for me around this team. When Colton's on fire, this team is almost unstoppable. If Colton is struggling, then it can be a bit of a struggle. But Colton's been better, more better than not in recent years for this team.
Yeah, he's kind of my barometer with this team. I mean, Mike is going to bring it. I think the front end is as good as any out there right now. And I was really impressed the more I watched this team with Marshy's calling in the house, throwing seconds, but um, in the house with Mike. I think that's a good combination.
No, I'd agree with that. Absolutely a good line reader, and that lets Colton use what's one of his best weapons, which is his brush on the ice. So
That's right.
yeah, it's
Yes.
it's good to see teams find their alignment and find their strength, and Team McEwen has certainly done that. Well, this first end is really starting to stack up there. That early come around has survived,
Hmm.
and it's really stacking up here.
Yeah, and Keener's never been really shy of mixing it up. And Mike's I think a master at it.
Yeah, rocks in play will not make Mike McEwen nervous, that's for certain.
No.
Flat angle here, but there's definitely a sideways play.
Yep.
Kevin Marsh lining it up. Big lean on the brush there from Colton. Little inside
Look at
flop.
that.
There you go.
Yeah,
Lovely.
just like we drew it up.
Mark Kean taking a long look at the angles. Worth
Mm.
another look on the replay, Terry.
Yeah, Colton really leans on that. Real good sweeper, good technique.
So McEwen line 1. Team Kean with the hammer here in 1. To
I
do a
think
little bit of
this,
redecorating here.
yeah, this is a good call. I think it's a must.
Clears the front. No action on the stones in the rings, but changes the complexion of the end. McEwen says, let's replace that guard, please.
I don't think Mark would be too happy the way the two greens are lined up with that yellow one, but again, it's not his shot, so he doesn't have to worry about it right now.
No, I'd agree, Terry. Angles are definitely favoring Team McEwen right here.
Yeah.
Colton Flash trying to lay up the guard.
He thought he
It's a
was a
little
little
warm,
heavy.
though.
Yeah, he thought he was a little heavy out of his hand, but you know what? I I think that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kean looking at the. I think he's playing a runner. Is he just playing a straight clear, do you think, Terry?
I thought he called the run, but I'm not sure that
No.
that's the play, but
Well, stone's on its way from Brady Lumley. It's going to over curl if it is a run.
yeah.
Blows it by the stones in the rings. Does clear the front. I guess in an emergency, Mark's, well, I was going to say he could use his second shot somehow as a jump, but he can't really get clear the front stones in the front 4-foot. They're really overlapped, and that's really
Yeah.
blocking a path to the buttoner, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think Mark's going to have to try and jiggle it around a bit, but I mean, again, uh, Mike's just, you know, satisfied to throw another guard up, and of course, when you've thrown it once, as they say, you don't want to always give players the second opportunity to make a shot they've already made, but
Exactly. And in the case of Colton, even makes the adjustment this time and pulls it back
yes,
another foot or two and lays it right on the center line. That's a
yeah,
beauty.
yeah, perfect shot.
Nothing at all there for Mark Kean. Looks like he's thinking he can dig the one in the front of the 4-foot. He's just going to have to skinny the front if he's going to try that. But at this point, you don't really, you're running out of bullets. So you're going to have to make some kind of a play.
That's right. This is the Vice's last shot.
I think the play is at the stone in the front of the 4-foot, just trying to chip it. On its way, looking for a piece, not going to get it. Gets that little inside flop, which improves the situation a bit because now at least it's corner frozen on the shot rock. So that might be a saver for Mark.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's still got the, um, if he needs it anyway on his last shot, chipping the yellow one 4 shot. So I think that's one of the things that Mike's looking at. How do I make my shot so that he doesn't have that one, or that he's certainly not enticed to play that one.
Well, we saw Mike take a look how much clearance is the yellow stone in the front 8-foot
Hmm.
from the center guard, and he can maybe see a corner. If he wanted to make a play towards that yellow, bump yellow, green, yellow, and redistribute the angles, and that looks like what he's going to have a play at. It's a shot not without risk, though.
That's right.
But if there's anybody in curling you want throwing a risky shot with high reward, it's probably this guy.
Hmm.
Down to skip stones here in the first at the Henderson Mental Fall Classic. Shout out to Ryan Harden and his clubmates who really had the vision to turn this into an event, and this has become very quickly a big event on the calendar.
It certainly has.
looking to just chip that yellow and just
Oh,
wiggle them around. Hey, that's pretty good. Line
that is
2. Well, is he lying 2? He's lying 1 for sure, but
one
that's a
for
fantastic
sure.
shot.
Yeah.
Pushes the Kean stone behind the tee line. I think that yellow stone is second shot, but it changes the angles all around. Mark Keane. Is he thinking that he can somehow skinny that green across the green on the button, Terry? Do you think he's going across the top chip double
That
takeout here?
that looks like what the attempt is. It's it's that old story. Like, I don't know, can you hit it that thin with that much movement? I don't know how lively the rocks are here. I mean, but certainly I wouldn't think just from our angle that that's possible. But again, it would be one lonely green in there if Mark were to make this, even if it jams.
So job 1, get rid of one of the green rocks.
Get
If
rid of
by a
the green
miracle you can get
card.
2, but he crashes the front. Yep, got the wrong green rock. So now Mike McEwen can go into steel thinking mode. How can I make it really, really tough for Mark on the last one?
Yeah, that's the objective.
The bonus for Mike is those 2 stones front 4-foot are overlapped, right? So there's
I know.
really no way to get at the one on the button. Even if he just picks off, and that's what they're talking about. If we just get rid of that yellow one and spill, that's not the worst thing in the world. You'd rather stick around, and they're talking about, can we get there for an inside roll? But if you risk the inside roll and you ever chip the
Yeah.
one in the top 4-foot and change the angle, that's a disaster. So
And I don't I'm wondering here if, he wants to actually hit and go. I'm just trying to visualize it in my own head. They're in the way.
yeah, well, I can
But
see what Colton's looking at. Colton's saying if we nose blast the yellow in the front, both yellows will go and be line 3.
well,
So
that's
that's
what
an
I
option
was
too.
yeah, that's what I was thinking first off was if you kind of knows that yellow one, would you not sit three?
But I like this call. I mean, you hit the yellow, even if you spill off the rings, how's Mark going to get? How's Mark going to score? Never mind, get more than one. Shot's on its way. Mike McEwen making a play at the yellow second shot, sitting on the tee line. Just looking to peel it off, and that's what he does. So here's the situation for Mark Keane. Saying, can I get drag effect action and
What?
somehow move that one on the button? I don't think so.
You don't think he plays that in turn, hit it high, it'll drag and potentially score two?
Well, I'm not sure. There's a gap between those front 2, and that's why I don't think he's going to get a ton of drag here. I mean, it's worth a try, right? What's the worst that's going to happen?
That yeah.
You give up one, so you might as well have a crack at it. But I can't see it dragging across to the one on the button. But hey, we're about to find out.
That's right. That's why it's fun to sit up here at times.
Absolutely. So Mark Keane lining up the final shot of this first end, trying to rattle a couple and get a bit of a drag and maybe score, maybe not. We're about to find out.
Looks like it's close, but
Yep, there's the action. No drag spills across. It will be
yeah.
a steal of 1 for Mike McEwen. So one end in the books. It's McEwen 1, Keane no score as we head for the second end. Welcome back to Sault Ste. Marie. It's the Henderson Metal Fall Classic. Mark Keane taking on Mike McEwen. Hans Frauenlob here along with Terry Corbin. Entertaining first end, Terry, and a good steal for Team McEwen.
Yeah, it's always a nice way to start a game, but with a steal. So, um, at, I mean, even ends. Mark's got the hammer. He's looking at trying to score his deuce, but certainly, again, you know, I would like to see more play on the outside if I'm Mark, but um, It's that seems to be kind of the template, for most teams is if you get a short rock, you're going around the center.
Yeah, this is looking much like the first end differences that Spencer Dunlop's first shot, sitting up top 12, and so Team McEwen electing to go around it. First up, Mike said, let's corner freeze the top one, but his teammate says, wait a minute, we got Daniel Marsh here. Let's go
That's
around
right.
the thing.
I love that call.
Great shot. So immediately, Team Keane chasing the button as they were in the first end. Good crowd on hand here in the Sioux. It's a great curling town.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything this time around. This morning I was saying they really support their curling up here, and why wouldn't you? You've got you know Brad Jacobs' success. You've got the Herndon brothers and family. You've got McCarville's team. You've got Tracy Horgan and her brothers. And then they panned to the crowd, and of course everybody had kind of got up and left. So
Oh, well, you got to go in and get a coffee once in a while, right? And, it is a bit cool out there, so you do need to, kind of keep yourself warm from time to time. But yeah, lovely crowd on hand here for this draw.
yes,
Nice freeze on shot rock by Team Keane. That's forcing Team McEwen now to make their call around. Are we going to kind of
yeah,
try to guard this one out? And they get a nice little overlap there on that center stone. So much like the first end, this end shaping up like either a potential steal or a potential force. All set up by that lovely come around from Daniel Marsh.
hmm and rock placement is so key. Um, like that is perfect. And even the guard. I mean, you watch a lot of teams. Yeah, put it here or somewhere in and around there. No, put it here,
Yeah.
and let the sweepers know exactly where you want it. Let the thrower know exactly where you want it.
Yeah. Before the game started, Terry, I was watching the pregame practice for Team McEwen, and they were making sure that all their practice draws, whether they were going for the lid or whether they were just throwing another shot, were on the center line. It was like a tightrope, and they were just drilling them there time after time after time. And I think you're exactly right. When you got great rock placement, it's a big ask to guard and end out. But
Oh, yeah.
if you're making shots like that and you've got confidence in your team, then
hmm
that's a very valid tactic. Just a corner available of that Yellowstone top 8 foot, well, just biting top 8 foot. And Mark Keane saying, I'd like to kind of give myself some options here and backline split. I like this call.
Yeah.
Got to give yourself more than one way to get at that stone in the button.
That's right. Now, and this is Maddie's out turn. He's a left-hander. Um, I had the opportunity to coach a team with Maddie filling in for us, and this kid can throw it.
Matthew Garner trying to split this one, making a move though. It's over on that center guard, and let's see what this does. Is it going to get any contact on it? Gets a little split. It does give himself maybe a run. Looking at the angles here on the overhead, might just be able to navigate yellow to yellow on the angle run now. So has at least created a couple of shot options out of that. Mike McEwen realizes that too, and he's taking a long look.
hmm
What can hurt us here? And he's saying, yeah, that's the one that's going to hurt us the most,
Yeah,
potentially.
love this call. This is where I think Mike's experience comes in. I mean, they need to get a rock to the center line, and now he's obviously taking the easiest way to get a rock there. But as you mentioned, like that run is there, and Mark knows that too.
Golden Flash. This one's tracking a wee bit. This is looking more like a straight guard. I thought he was playing the hit as well, Terry, but this looks like just a guard.
Yeah.
So he's going to leave him that outside run and elect to cover the center again. Well played. It's not the easiest of runs on that angle, but it is definitely there. But more to the point is the problem right now for Kean. You got 4 stones defending those stones in the 4-foot. So you got to deal with those. Matthew Garner. Southpaw lining it up. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No.
Brady
Yeah.
Lumley. On to thirds rocks now.
That's right.
The baseball hat fooled me, Terry.
That's right. Mark usually has his hat on too, but I'll see he's opted to go hatless.
So that does change the look of the front of the rings now. Still overlaps though, those 2 guard stones just short of the rings and on the 12-foot. Doing a pretty good job of protecting the 2 stones in the button area because of that overlap.
Yeah.
Long conversation at the hack end. Marsh Brothers and Colton Flash. They've got a great look at the angles from the hack. And for me, Terry, I mean, this is really the situation where you're saying, okay, are we kind of playing conservative to defend against a 2, or are we trying to keep a steal alive here? Ultimately, the play is going to be yellow or green, yellow on the front by the looks of things. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. This does really reduce the risk of dropping 2 if you make, but you also keep the steal alive. So good shot loses the overlap. So it is now more of a straight run on the center to the stones in the rings. But if you're Kean, you're running your opponent's stone in. That's never good. And importantly with that roll, Terry, I think he's taken away that angle run as well, maybe. That green rock rolling to the edge of the 12-foot like that. Brady Lumley, stone on its way. Bangs the front, opens it up, rolls away. So those yellow stones, guard stones, corner guard stones, really. Well, the one just rolled, I was looking, could you actually run that in the left-hand one of the 3 guard stones, and you really can't. The angle's too steep.
Yeah. I think he just plays the the guard here.
A situation where if you get a force, you're pretty happy.
Yeah.
Think of it as though in this situation, the way that they're welded there on the button, Terry, it's you got to make the guards great, right? Because if you don't,
God, yes.
all of a sudden you get a cheap 2 out of nowhere.
That's right. We had one this morning where literally you thought it was going to lead to a blank end, and just one missed shot, and it was a 3-banger, like real quick.
So Mike McEwen, after seeing his teammates throw pretty nice center guards for the whole end, now it's his turn to do the same. That one might be over curling a fraction.
Yeah.
Has he shown him a way through that port, and Mark's having a look at it? You can see maybe a quarter of it now.
It's there. I
You
think that's there. I think I think he's gonna play that.
you gotta try it now because you're probably not gonna get another
Yeah,
chance at it, I
yeah,
would have thought.
yeah. You're not gonna see another opening like that.
I mean, it is not a yawning, gaping hole. I mean, he's gonna have to
No,
squeak it through there, but it does look like it's there. Question is, what kind of weight's he gonna play at it? I think you gotta be thinking hack at least.
well, I don't think. Yeah, I would think every bit of hack. Um, it's going to be hard to hold it. Once it goes, it's going. But I mean, his biggest wish, I think, here is how can I move that back and keep my shooter in the house?
Exactly. Needs to keep his shooter biting a bit of the 8 foot to be second shot. And if we presume that he's not going to get any more than maybe 1/4 rock contact on that Yellowstone front button, all of that thing added together says you can't really throw much more than hack.
No,
But you do need to throw enough to push the green out of the 8 foot as well.
that's right. They didn't jump it out of his hand, so they must like it.
Marquine having a long look at it.
He's through. Oh, no, he's
Oh, just
not.
clipped the front. Just clipped the front.
Oh, wow.
So Mike McEwen dodges one bullet. Not out of the woods yet, though.
Well, now I guess, you know,
Look at the angles he's looking at, Terry. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you.
no, I mean, because I'm just thinking, I mean, right now, he's got that intern, he's got the run back on the double run back on the yellows, I think. Like he's got a lot of he's got some options that I didn't think he was gonna have.
Well, what Mike's looking at is yellow, yellow into the pocket on the two greens double takeout. He said, if I had a
Yeah.
chance to throw that, I'd throw it and we'd make it.
Yeah,
Right? That's what Mike's thinking.
we would be talking that's the end and because he would have
Yeah.
thrown it by now.
Yeah. So Mike sees the danger. Great look at the overhead.
Yeah,
And you can see the two yellows on the left-hand side of the screen lined up almost perfectly to make a natural double on the two inside greens. You can't take everything away though when you're Mike
that's right.
McEwen. And so the first job is take away the obvious shot. And what Mike's thinking is, can I take away the obvious shot and somehow take away the Hail Mary shot?
Well, we always talk about, what if you were kind of Mark, what would you want me to leave you? And we'll take
Exactly.
that away.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's the thing for Mike McEwen, right? He would be perfectly comfortable throwing a high risk double angle run in.
Hmm.
Would Mark be as comfortable throwing that as Mike McEwen? That's a different question. Both
Yes.
have the capability, but it's more a question, how often do you like to play those kinds of shots? And if I'm Mark Keane, if you're somehow thinking about you're going to take away that double run, you're going to leave me an easy nose banger for two on the one on
Hmm.
the 4 foot. Okay, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. They've called for this thing short, and this has got a lot of curling to do, man.
We did see Mike's first guard attempt finish late. Now they're sweeping to try and get a little bit of a feather on
They're
that
going to get a little
Yellowstone.
feather.
Mike says, "You over feathered it, guys. It didn't need the feather." Wound
Uh,
up in a perfect spot. It's taken away the path to the Yellowstone in the front of the button, which was job one. And
yes.
now, indeed, we can see in the overhead shot that Marquine is lining up that double run. I'd kind of like to see it just because Mike had such a long look at it, right? It's like, oh, Mike was
Yeah.
scared of that shot.
Well, and I don't see really what else he's got. It's either the double run or the one that he's looking at.
Yeah. So it's a question about which angles do you think are better to try and run in and get action on both of the green shots? And Mark Keane saying, okay, I think coming at it more directly gives us a higher chance of making the shot. It's tough. You do wonder if he could just get by after that little feather, you could almost go at the greens directly. You maybe not even have to play the run, but it is going to be the run by the looks of things.
Well, that one green that was promoted late in the end, I mean, that can even act as a catcher here if he hits the one on the yellow on the center line.
Well, here we go. Final stone on its way for Mark Keane. Trying about a 10-foot raised double.
It's close.
And there's the one, gets the
There you
action.
go.
There you go. How good is that, everybody? Bango, 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 and 3 out of
3.
absolutely nowhere for Mark Keane. What a fantastic shot. Wow.
Yeah, Mike's scratching his head on that one. Geez, I knew I shouldn't have left him that option, but
So 3 on the board for Keane. They take a 3-1 lead after 2 in Sault Ste. Marie. Welcome back to Sault Ste. Marie at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. And this one is turning into a classic almost immediately. Mark Keane with an amazing raise double to score 3 in the second end. Hans Frauenlob here along with Terry Corbin. Wow, what a shot from Mark Keane. Let's have another look at it, Terry.
yeah, well swept. Again, team shot, Mark threw it. They swept it. Good line call. Bang. It's for 3.
A real end turner. Team McEwen were defending the whole end with center guards. And Team Keane managed to just get some stones accumulating out there on the wings that they could use. And in the end, got the payoff. And wow, what a turnaround. 4-point swing on that shot.
Yeah. And I think it's also, a good lesson too. Like, I mean, you don't have to be in a hurry in order to score 3. You just need a chance sometimes. And Mark was provided that chance, and he executed.
So Team McEwen finally get the hammer, but probably not in a situation where they're hoping to get the hammer. All of a sudden, they're 2 down.
That's right.
And you pointed out, Terry, see the contrast here in terms of offensive styles.
Hmm.
Team McEwen immediately chucking up corner guard. So early in the end, this end having quite a different look than the first 2.
That's right.
Good inside roll, closes up the house.
Hmm.
Doesn't quite duck in behind cover, but brings the play back towards the center line. That's good for Team Keane.
And Michael want to get that back out into the wings.
Yeah, it's like a game of chicken, isn't it? You just kind
Yeah.
of, one team's trying to take things one way, other team's trying to take things the other way. It's a bit of an arm wrestle.
Oh, he's
This
nice.
one is spills inside.
Yeah, I was a little shocked there. I thought he would try and roll back out to the wings.
Mark Keane had a bit of a look at the port, thought better of it, and said, "No, well, got our
Yeah.
stone in front. Let's run it." Garner with that attempted run, bang.
But
Spills
that,
his own out of the rings, but gets the shot rock out of the rings and opens up.
but now Mike's got a couple of rocks to work with. The corner guard that he threw up, and Matt's uh, rock that he just threw is in play and very usable for Mike.
Yeah, you used the word that I was thinking, Terry. Usable. Those are very usable stones now for Mike McEwen. Kevin Marsh trying to duck behind cover here. Doesn't get, well, he does get fully buried. I said he didn't quite fully cover it, but he did. Nice shot. Mark Keane playing this end, the way that, certainly I was coached,
Mhm.
after you score a 3, You don't let the rocks accumulate the next end and let your opponent score 3 back. And so Mark Keane saying, let's rip a corner guard.
That's right.
You don't want to give up 2. Nobody wants to give up 2, but you sure don't want to give up 3 after you score 3.
Exactly. And if he plays the, quiet come around and he doesn't make it, all of a sudden, 3 is, certainly a possibility. I like the
Unfortunate thing for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Terry.
No, I was just gonna say, Mike, I would love to have the guys mic'd because, I mean, Mike wanted to go around the corner, and I I didn't know what Colton was kind of referring to. He was looking like he wanted to play the out turn as a maybe a potential guard on that rock. But I like this. Get in behind, and away we go.
Yeah, I'm all over this come around, whether you come around outside in or the path
Eh,
that they're choosing,
Yeah,
because those 2 yellow stones are nicely overlapped now.
yeah,
So they're perfect guards to use. You could throw 2 or 3 behind them.
yeah. I mean, I see the fear. I mean, you're a little bit afraid that Mark might get a hit and roll, but I mean, that's kind of what you have to look at, risk reward, and certainly if they make it where they want it, which is probably biting the 4. I just think that's in such good position that it puts so much pressure on Mark's team to make a not just a regular shot but a high quality shot.
Well, and I think this shot coming up is the kind of must-make high-quality shot for Team Keane. Brady Lumley really has to stick this roll, because if he leaves it open and gives Mike a chance to hit and flop coming back or something like that, all of a sudden you're looking at 3. So this is a really important
Look,
shot, but just
looks
gonna
like
catch it
he's
thin,
thin.
get
Yeah,
the piece, good shot. Spills out of the rings, but he does push the McEwen stone out behind the cover of the guards, and that's important. Colton Flash gonna have a chance to come down that same path. Went deliberately deep in the house on his prior shot. Be interesting to see where in the house they'd like to leave this one. I think this one you can kind of just go green light and think front 4 foot.
yeah. Ideally,
This one's really moving though. They're gonna have to work hard to get it by that guard, or even get it there to the rings at all. Is it short of the rings?
I think it's there.
Feathers that
Oh,
guard.
it did tick the guard. Oh,
Yep. So
not
just
good.
6 feet light for Colton Flash, and now the door's open for Team Keane.
Hmm.
That stone that Colton just delivered is threatening. That's definitely a usable stone for
Hmm.
Team McEwen, but now you can switch your mindset to force if you wanted to.
Well, I think now Mike's probably going to come in if they run that green one. I would think that ideally Mark, knowing that even if Mike makes a good one, he could eliminate this green rock. But he's gonna play the open rock.
Yep. And for me, Terry, this is saying I'm really happy to give up to, because even if you make this one, you're thinking Mike's going to ignore it and just whip around the pile.
Yeah, I guess that would have been my thinking. He's going around anyway. Let's maybe see if we can't beat him. If I'm going to give up 2, I mean, I can hit the open one on my last one. Let him draw for his second point. But um, Mark's playing this a little conservative in my mind.
Really has to stick around the rings, because that front greenstone, it's almost splittable, really.
For sure it is.
Nose is it.
Yeah,
Now, see McEwen, no hesitation whatsoever.
yeah.
You're going to ignore that completely.
I mean, he could certainly, um, you know, I guess hit the yellow one, and then you're hoping Mark does the same and you can get a blank out of it. But I like a skip's deuce.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is set up perfectly for Team McEwen to have a crack at it here.
Yeah.
One of these ones where you'd like it to actually overbury.
Mm-hmm.
If you could get it half a rock past the guard stone front forefoot, you create a bit of a jam angle in case Mark tries to make some kind of a double run on the two greens.
Yeah, you just don't want to be behind the tee line here and cut your whole end off.
Well,
Uh-oh.
needs to be second shot. Is he going to be second shot? He does stick around just back 4 foot. Pretty decent rock. Does invite Mark Kean to follow it down, though. See the disappointment on the face of Mike McEwen. He knows that was 3 feet heavy.
Yeah. If Mark freezes on this, I mean, he will still have the pin to play with.
Don't forget that green guard stone just front of the rings. That could be runnable as well for Mike McEwen. So pretty
Mm-hmm.
important for Mark to freeze and weld this one well. Great chance for Mark Kean after scoring 3 in the second to really set up for a force back here in the third.
Mm-hmm. And that was the danger of Mike going behind the tee line.
Sweepers are on and off, so they think it's in the neighborhood. Now it's all about the line.
Yeah, this looks good. Yeah.
Covers half of the shot rock. Mike McEwen saying, can I get to the pin and push it and still score? Is it even worth trying? He's looking at that straight run back. I can run the green. Can I pick the yellow off? Is there a risk there? I think you try it. I think running the green is easier than trying to get around and push to the pin. But then again, this is Mike McEwen we're talking about. So drawing to the pin would be an option for him that he would make an awful lot.
Well,
But the
not
thing about the run, Terry, is he's got a chance for 2 if he tries it.
I was just gonna say, and I'm at this level, these guys, they see all the possibilities. Usually, I mean, I'm not even looking at that, running it back and potentially making the double. I mean, that's just out of my league. So, but these guys, I mean, that's the other thing. These guys throw so many rocks, and practice so often that, um, you know, when they practice, they practice these.
Yeah, and they make them a lot.
Yeah.
So Mike McEwen trying the green run back. Green raised double takeout. He's going to have to get just across nose to get angle on the stone in the button. Shot on its way. Final rock. End number 3.
Wow, this is quiet.
Super quiet. I'm surprised.
No.
Pushes the green back, but past the pile. Didn't really want to disturb things, so it is going to be a steal of 1 for Mark Kean. Wow, what an end. 3
Yeah.
ends in the books, and Mark Kean leads it by a score of 4-1. Welcome back to Sault Ste. Marie. It's the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. Mark Kean of Ontario taking on Mike McEwen of Saskatchewan, and Team Kean, after scoring a 3 in the third, big steal of 1 in the 1 to 3 in the second rather, and big steal of 1 in the third, enjoying a 4-1 lead. And Hans Frauenlob here with Terry Corbin. It's been a super entertaining game. We're still early in the piece, but every end has had something going, Terry.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, it's really come down to one shot, and that was a great uh, throw on Mark's last rock in the second end.
Yeah. And his last rock in the third as well. I mean, he made the
Yes.
fantastic raise double for the 3, and then he made a fantastic freeze to force Mike into a tough shot to try and score 2, which he didn't make. Here is a look at that freeze. Really bailing himself out of the end with this shot, Terry.
Mm-hmm. well judged by the sweepers. I mean, you can throw it all day, and we all have been there where it gets overswept or underswept, and that was just well judged by the sweepers.
Good early end setup by Spencer Dunlop of Team Kean. 2 Yellowstones on the center lines. Corner guard up for Team McEwen. So the duel is absolutely on here. McEwen using the corner guards, Keane using the center guards.
Hmm.
Game on.
Do you like the new rule with the no tick when the rock's on the center line?
Totally.
Yeah,
Love it. Absolutely. Because the reason I love it is if you're going to try and come around a tight center guard, it puts a different thought in your mind now. You know, before that rule, you'd okay, we can go around a center guard. If we take the center guard, no big deal. Well, now you got
that's
to
right.
think about you're giving yourself another 3 inches of ice because if you're going to try that shot, you don't want to disturb that center guard and lose your shot in the process. That's the worst. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I do like it. It just
Yeah.
means things accumulate and creates just more options. So, yes, I'm a fan of the rule. And there's a good example. Mind you, he's coming around his own shot here, but
Hmm.
stacked up. Lovely execution from Team Keane. Good look in the left-hand side of the screen from the hack end. Almost in a perfect line, those 3 Yellowstones.
Yeah.
Team McEwen with last rock. And we have seen enough over the years, Terry, even though they're trailing by 3. A Mike
That's right.
McEwen team with last rock advantage and stones accumulating are always a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, right now Mike's just trying to buy some furniture and he'll rearrange it a little later.
Good brushing from Team McEwen. Cozying it in there. Those greenstones in the rings beginning to accumulate. So even though Mark Keane is lying too, he's all of a sudden feeling a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
Matthew Garner lines it up, being asked to rip the corner guard. Getting close to nose. Just going to run it back, ping the green. Nice. Leaves the corner guard, but does remove that counter in the rings for Team McEwen.
It'll just be interesting to see whether Mike wants to, excuse me, go around that corner guard again or play make this play. Yes.
Good discussion here around their options. You can see, Terry, that the instincts are they want to keep rocks in play here.
Hmm.
Maybe reposition them a little bit. Still lots of time here for Team McEwen. You don't have to get into desperation zone here,
Hmm.
but you still would like to score 2 in this end.
I think this is kind of if I can say it, this is the game end, and by that all I mean is if he can score his deuce, I mean we have a game. If he doesn't score here, I'm not sure that the odds favor him uh, uh, at all.
Yeah, it's definitely an important end. Well, every end's important, but you're right in terms of the game being finally poised here.
Yeah,
If Mark was ever to steal again here in 4, they would grab this game by the scruff of the neck.
yeah.
Right now, Team Keane lying to, but that green stone of Team McEwen sitting directly in front of their 2, trying to guard and defend the path to those stones. Does a pretty decent job covering it. At some point, you know that the play is going to be run them back into the pile, and this looks like the moment for Colton Flash. I believe the play is yellow straight back into the pile. Bang, bang, bang. Stone's moving. So that scatters them around, shot rock wide open, but certainly unlocks everything, Terry. Key thing for Team McEwen there. No center guards. All the guards are in the corners, which is where you like them. Brady Lumley. He's being asked to remove that McEwen counter. Probably just wants to leave it sitting on the nose. That's what he does. Nice shot. And an interesting call coming up here for Mike McEwen. Appears to me from his call that he's going to ignore those two stones in the rings and just play a straight draw around that green corner guard. I do like this call. It'll be important for Colton to get his stone ideally fully behind green and still sitting in front of that yellow stone on the right-hand side of the picture as we look at the overhead. Keep the good angles for jams. Got to get by that corner guard first, though. No, this one is going to overcurl. It is going to crash that corner guard. Disappointment on the expression of Colton Flash. That's an opportunity gone for Team McEwen. Now all of a sudden for Mark Kean. Up 3. You're lying 2. Terrific opportunity to engineer the fourth here. And as Terry was saying a bit earlier, a score of 1 for Mike McEwen. If you're Mark Kean, you're not home and hosed by any means. You're still 4 ends to play, but 4 ends to play, 2 up with the brick. You'd be feeling pretty good about that if you asked Mark before the game if you could get to the fourth 2 up with. Would you be happy? I'd say he would say yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure. And if Mark makes a good shot here, I mean, certainly the difficulty of Mike's next one's going to increase as well.
Down to skip stones here in the fourth. Mark Kean has made some fantastic shots, as has his teammates, but he made some circus shots to convert for the 3 in the second, and a great freeze in the third to set up what turned into a steal. See if his hot hand continues here in the fourth. Trying to cut down that scoring area, I think, here, Terry.
I think so, yeah.
Just a little tap on that stone in the front 8, I think. Just trying to push it forward a foot or 2. Yeah, not too much further forward, but does leave himself lying 3. So if we're in this situation, Terry, 2 stones to come for Mike McEwen, what do you think his best path to a 2 is from here?
I'd like him to share that with me because yeah, it's that's a long yellow guard, and so I don't think, regardless of where he puts it, I think Keener can get to any shot that he throws with that in-turn draw around that guard. So I think, ultimately, well, he's playing the hit and roll by the looks of it. That that shot stone, I think, is in really good position that it forces Mike to the shot.
Yeah, there are not too many other good options for Mike. You could try a crazy intern come around the pile of the greens, but that's a super high risk shot. And you're leaving Mark a short run back on his own stone, even if you make it. So, not too many great options here for Mike McEwen. Important that he gets this behind cover.
And
Teammate of
that's
mine
good.
used to say, Terry, toughest shot in curling's a hit and roll when you need it. And Mike needed a good hit and roll there. Made it pretty good,
Yeah,
more
no,
than
that
pretty good.
but like I say, I mean, even if he had tried to get there with the draw, I think it was always going to be available with the curl here.
So that greenstone, well, we'll say it's 3/4 buried, maybe 7/8 buried, but we can see in the overhead there's about 8 feet between the guard stone and the shot rock. So there should be enough room for Mark Keane to, at worst, just chip it out. But it's not a gimme.
No, absolutely not.
Mark Keane just trying to dig that shot out. It's going to have to come very close to the corner guard to make. Early sweep. This one, is it on the corner guard already? Are they by?
No, it's on the
No, he
guard.
crashes the front. So Mike McEwen, with that very good hit and roll, has manufactured, well, if he can hit the 8 foot,
Yep.
a really crucial multiple point score here in the fourth if he makes. And Terry, as you pointed out early in the end, he's got to make this one, of course. But from your perspective, should Team McEwen convert for the pair here, puts them very much back in the game.
Exactly. This would be, your classic skips deuce.
Final stone of the fourth and on its way. Mike McEwen needs full 8 foot.
Sweepers are just cleaning it.
They seem pretty happy with it.
Yeah, it takes the curl. Yeah.
No panic in the sweep whatsoever. And Mike McEwen pins it. So Team McEwen right back in this one. A huge score of 2 for them in the fourth at the halfway point. Mark Keane leads it 4-3. Welcome back to Sault Ste. Marie. It's the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. And this game shaping up like a bit of a classic already. It's Mark Keane versus Mike McEwen. This is the A side. First game for Team McEwen. They had a bye in the first round. Team Keane had a win over Jeongdeok Park of Korea by a 7-3 count. So we are on the A side of this triple knockout. Hans Frauenlob here with Terry Corbin, and Terry, a pretty crucial pair for Mike McEwen there in the fourth.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I really think that it was paramount that Mike not only scored, but that's an even end, but scored his deuce. You just got to feel way better playing 5.
So it'll be interesting to see how Team Keane's approach this end, and we have to take a look at this crucial hit and roll that set up the pair for Mike McEwen. This really was
Yeah.
the end maker. Mark Keane tried to follow that down to dig it out, crashed the corner guard. Mike drew for his pair, and that leaves us at 4-3.
Yeah, just while we have a minute going on the 4 o'clock draw, Joel Retornaz and John Epping are tied at 1-1. Kelly Droppin is up 2-1 on Sandy McEwen. Our game has Keane over McEwen 4-3. Matt Sunstones just laid a licking on Magnus Ramsfeld. 8-2 that game. It was conceded after 4. Kevin Cooey with a 5 spot on the in the first end leads Tyler Smith 6-1, and Matthew Hunt from Sault Ste. Marie has a 2-1 lead over Alex Champ.
Thanks for that update, Terry. That's great to see. I mean, fantastic teams here this weekend. Terrific tournament. A lot of interest in the new look team Cooey with Aaron Shasitsky coming into the lineup there at second stone.
Sorry, who's
Team
coming
Cooey.
in? Who's coming in?
You're going to make me say that again, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Aaron Slushinsky. Man, oh man. With a name like mine, eh? And I can't say his name properly. Sorry about that, Aaron.
Sorry, that's my bad.
Yeah, no, totally. Team Cooey dropped their first round game, and so bouncing back strongly here in this one. Stones accumulating around the center line. Kevin Marsh trying to duck around the pile.
And he does.
That's a beauty. Front button. Really couldn't carry it down any better. Team McEwen trying to lay the trap here for Mark Kean. Try to tempt him into a high-risk shot.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way I would have got it there, is if I carried it down.
And you'd mentioned Matty Gardner, the left-hander, coming at this one from a slightly different path than the right-handers, and so
Yeah.
maybe a more makeable shot for a lefty here. People in curling from time to time make arguments that the sport should go away from two hacks and just go to a uni hack, and
Yeah.
everybody's throwing down the same path. But I don't know, maybe I'm a bit old school. I'm quite comfortable with two hacks and a left-hander and a right-hander coming down different paths.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does make for some different angles, when you're sliding out, and certainly when I think of Mark Kennedy and his explanations, one day he did I don't know whether it was an interview or just an explanation on a standalone, but yeah, he explained it very well, and it is different. Um, I've had the opportunity to have a lefty on my team in the past, and you can actually take advantage of it if you know we would be more or less playing on straighter ice, and you can use it to your advantage at times. So I hope they leave it status quo myself.
Yeah, same. Back in my days, back in my junior, I had a junior team with two lefties on it, and this was pre-push brooms, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was a super advantage because you could really be very, very effective with a lefty and a
Hmm.
righty sweeping back in the day.
Yeah. Mark's had enough of this.
Yeah. Key thing for Team Kean here in this end: do not concede a steal. So to try and achieve that, trying to blow up the front a little bit, hoping for a little bit more action, but gets rid of the short guard. You can see Mike
That's.
McEwen there in the background,
I
having
think
a
he's thinking.
long look.
I think he's thinking what I'm thinking. Geez, that's a lonely green.
Yeah. I don't really want to stack the guards, but I
I
may have
know.
no choice. We do see those yellow stones accumulating, and we did see back in the second end, the stone biting the 12-foot came into play when Mark Kean made an amazing raised double takeout. So that 2 turned into 3 because of that biter stone, and Mike McEwen sensing the danger again. Time clock's running.
Yeah, this has an
This is worth a
eerie.
conversation. This is a key decision, isn't it?
Yeah, this has an eerie feeling about it.
That green stone on the button, shot rock, but as Terry pointed out, pretty lonely and all kinds of threatening yellow stones in front of it, all kinds of danger. Pinball shots, fluke shots, and called shots. That green shot rock is under threat from multiple directions here. So what they're talking about is, okay, what's the best way to reduce the threat at least?
Yeah, it can't
First
be too.
instinct was stack the long center, but they're looking at some options of moving stones around, Terry, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'd like to get another one myself in the house.
Yep, that is not a crazy thought. That's always been a maxim of mine. Sometimes the best guard is second shot.
Yeah, even
Problem is, where do you put it that's useful?
hmm
Not too many easy paths there for them, but here it comes, Colton Flash.
I think they did decide on the guard, did they not?
Seems to be just judging by the delivery. So, yep, we can see it making a move now towards the center zone. So it does appear to be a long guard, longish guard. Well, they are sweeping still, so they're trying to maybe get some overlaps and take away some runs. So a bit like a goaltender in hockey out there trying to cut down the angles a little bit,
Hmm.
make those green raises less usable or less makeable for Mark Keane.
And the thing about, the way the rocks are situated, Mark has some outs still, so that's a good thing if you're Mark. Um, he's gonna try and clean up the front a bit here.
Precision required on every shot, though, because there are jams and pinball shots if you don't make a clean pick. And there's an example
Ooh,
of it. That's exactly what happened.
yeah,
So that crafty rock placement by Mike McEwen forces the half shot error from Brady Lumley. And
yeah.
now all of a sudden, Mike is feeling much more comfortable.
Oh yeah, not only are you third shot, but now you can come in and get like top of the four even, and I think that's what they're just talking about now is do we want to go top four or do we want to get which I think you do. I mean, if it's not made real good, I suppose you could potentially leave a double, but I think the swing here is so good that
Did see Colton come up light on an attempted draw earlier in the game. This
mhm,
stone looks to have better weight. He's well by the guard, but they are sweeping for distance. They don't want to set up a double. They do need
I
to hide
know.
something. Have they
There's the
got it there for
finish.
second shot? Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
do. Yeah,
Good brushing from the Marsh brothers.
yeah.
And so now for Team Keane, Brady Lumley, chance to atone for that half shot miss on the prior shot. Just trying to run green, and I suspect try to get some action on those stones in the rings. He does, in fact, move one of those green stones out with that run. Improves the situation slightly, but still not easy here. Good news, I suppose, for Mark Keane is that all of those stones in the rings are absolutely lined up. So still outs, as you said earlier, Terry, for Mark Keane here.
Hmm.
bit similar to earlier ends, Terry. There are a couple of options here for Mark Keane, and so Mike McEwen will be asking himself, okay, can't take everything away, but
Right.
what's the thing we want to take away the most?
These
Could
guys
potentially
play.
get a bit of a 2-for-1 deal if he did make a play at that stone front 12-foot. But
Sometimes
it
you
looks
have,
like just guard weight to me.
yeah, sometimes you have to resist the urge to do what you want to do versus what you need to do.
Yeah. That's right. Sometimes the head has to win over the heart.
That's right. That's right.
Covers the run, takes away the run just, almost over curled, but covers kind of both direct straight paths to the shot rocks in the process. Mark Keane taking a long look at the angles here. You could go green over the top of yellow and run yellow back. It's tricky, but makeable. It does seem to be what he's eyeing up
Mhm.
here. In this situation, I like to call Terry. I mean, he's got a couple
Yeah.
of options here. Could careen off that one in the top 12-foot as well if he doesn't go across the face of the target yellow rock and doesn't get the angles perfect. So he's got a couple of AB options here.
Well, and that yellow can run into the pocket or the pile, and as well as it can probably, you could probably, if you don't hit it exactly where you want it, you might get rid of the biter yellow one on the top of the
Exactly.
12 foot.
Needs to hit high side, gets high side. Actually got it
Yep.
in.
Yeah, he probably hit that thinner than he wanted to.
Yep. I think the exact same thing. Had lots of weight, so he was always going to
Yeah.
move the shooter away.
Yeah.
So pretty good situation now for Mike McEwen. Setting up well for a force here. Still got to make a shot though. You can
Yeah.
see can't just throw a guard on it. You
No.
could, but Mark Keane will have a shot.
Yeah. I honestly, I think what he's gonna do. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think top of the 4 foot. You force Mark to try and make a double, and you're. I mean, if you make it good, you're never gonna sit and stay for two. So
We'll talk about cutting down the scoring area with this call.
mhm.
We suspect he's trying to cozy this one right almost directly beside his shot rock. Cut away the path to the pin. If he leaves it in the exact right place, not leave Mark Keane a double. So one of these situations you mentioned earlier, Terry, about rock placement. I mean, this one couldn't
Yeah,
be a better example. You're having to throw this one to almost a specific pebble to get it in a great spot.
that's right. This could be the difference between having a shot for two and kind of hoping and wishing for one if you're Mark.
So it's in the hands of the sweepers, Colton Flash, one of the strongest brushes in the game on the inside sweep.
This has got a curl. You almost.
And here it comes.
Oh, this is. Oh,
That's pretty good, I think.
I
Not
think
sure there's a makeable double there for Mark. Look at it from the delivery end. Well,
it's
if he
close.
shaves the
Yeah.
stones in the front, maybe he gets action, but it still probably goes across the top. Looks like he's going to have a try at it, though.
Yeah, you almost have to because if you touch the top green one on the 12 foot, it's going to push the yellow one onto the green, and he's still and McEwen's still getting one. So I don't think there's really any risk at taking a good, hard, long shot at this.
So wait here, Terry. Kind of throw it as hard as you reasonably can, I guess. Given that the context, if you're shaving the front, then you're getting rid of the one anyways.
Yeah, this is where you need Hector Gervais or
Horst Mellis, Chuck Waite.
Forrest.
There you
That's
go.
that's who I was trying to think
The
of.
old
Yeah,
timers out there.
yeah.
Yeah, here it comes.
It's close.
1, 2, pushes
Two.
the green. How far does it go?
Yep.
It is. Is it 2? They're taking
I
a look. It's definitely 1.
yeah.
Definitely 1. Is it 2?
Yeah. Mike's got to be really upset that that rock ended where it did. But like you said, you're talking about precise, and they went all in on being precise, and the the execution was not precise. I
Does
think it's
seem to me
yellow.
like they have settled and acknowledged that it is a pair for Mark Keane. Well, what a game.
Wow.
Fantastic last shot from Mark Keane. Gives them a pair.
Yeah.
Mike McEwen left the door very slightly ajar. Mark Keane walked right through it, and Team Keane leads it by a score of 6-3 after 5. We are in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario at the Henderson Medal Falls Classic, and this is a fantastic game. It's an A-side game. Mark Keane versus Mike McEwen. And Team Keane, after dropping a pair in the fourth end, came right back, scoring a pair themselves in the fifth. Hans Frauenlob here with Terry Corbin. Terry, let's take a look at that final stone of Mark Keane there in the fifth.
Yeah, I mean, he had to throw it with that kind of weight, and uh, you hate to say it, but um, Mark's winning the fantastic shot race here against Mike. Mark's made like a fantastic shot in two, a fantastic shot in five to score.
Well, Mike McEwen, known as Magic Mike, are we going to have to kind of go with, Magnificent Mark or something here? I mean, this is
I think you might be right.
terrific, terrific exhibition. Team Keane and Mark in
Yes.
particular having a very fine game against one of the sport's best in Team McEwen. We talked in the fourth end, Terry, about how crucial it was for Team McEwen to score a multiple, and that ask goes even higher here
I
in the
think
sixth.
I think so. I think so.
So in poker terms, it's all in for Team McEwen here in the sixth.
Yeah.
Mark Keane will know that better than anybody. But with the free guard zone rules, it's unavoidable that early in the end, stones are accumulating.
That's for sure. That's one change that has been really good for curling and the curling audience. In my days, not only were we would have 2-1, 1-0 games. I mean, those are unheard of, obviously now. But thank Russ Howard and company for that one. I think.
And the free guard zone rule, absolutely, making the sport of curling much more entertaining.
Hmm.
And in the process, and I've said this before, Terry, on many broadcasts, and it sounds like we're of a similar vintage. The in my mind now, particularly with the center line rule as well, uh, if your lead player isn't the best thrower on your team, you're pretty close to having your lead being the best thrower on the team because rock placement in the first four stones at the end, first five stones at the end are absolutely everything now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're not winning if you don't start ends off the way you want them because again, you have a little template in your own mind how you want to originally start the end, and if after two rocks you haven't got that formation going for you, it starts to get frustrating because all of a sudden you're changing gears, after lead rocks on the way you from the way you wanted to play the end.
After some discussion, Kevin Marsh looks like he's going to be asked to try and navigate past that corner guard and wiggle one into the back of the forefoot. This is going to have to really scrape that corner to make. Well, he's by the corner. Is he by the stone in the front 8? Big brush. Just, I think,
Oh,
very slightly feathered
yeah,
that stone in the front 8-foot.
yeah, it did.
But certainly something for Mark Keane to think about here. He won't be super comfortable with greenstones accumulating, that is for sure. But at the same time, you've got shot rock. Do we think he's trying to pick green here, Terry?
Gee whiz, you're looking at it from our advantage view, and it's like, wow, that would be slim
Tough shot.
pickings. Yeah, he's
I
got the
suppose the
front.
thinking is if you crash the front, not fatal, and that's
Yeah,
exactly what happens. So the center's open at least now for Team Keane. Still a corner guard there for Mike McEwen. You know he wants to be able to use that.
yeah.
Mike won't be panicking. He'll still be thinking in the back of his mind, yeah, you really want to score 3 here, but you know what? A pair keeps us in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I do like this call.
I do too.
Beauty. Fully behind that corner.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen them take that a little deeper, but
So you know that Mark Keane's going to want to eliminate something here. The question is what and how. You can see the arms going to the shoulders. So what that tells us is this will not be light.
no.
Heel weight. Brady Lumley. Looks to me like they're thinking inside double here, Terry.
Yeah,
Concede the jam, but try to get rid of 2. Well, they're actually playing the back stone. Gets the 1, gets the action. Nice shot.
yeah.
Sticks the shooter behind the corner guard. 2 still very much alive for Team McEwen, but that really does reduce the risk of a 3. Corner guard still available, though, for Mike.
Yeah, I like the split on the green one here personally, but
Brady Lumley says, yeah, pretty good, wasn't it?
yeah. I may be the baby of the group, but I can throw it.
Exactly.
24 and the front end are both 25 years old. I've seen them around through the junior circuit, and I mean, good throwers. Saw a lot of Spencer Dunlop, who's playing lead here. He skips at Western University, or he used to. I don't know about now, but I think he skipped a team at Western University. So there's no shortage of experience here. Oh, you would have liked to have touched that.
Stone is going to
Yeah,
scoot to the back of the 8-foot, but will hang around for second shot. Mark Keane looking at the angles here on the 2 greens, kind of having a bit of a debate with himself whether it's worth the risk to just try to double the 2 greens off or think about something else.
yeah, it looks like it's a half rock.
Certainly makeable, but if you try it and you either jam or you don't make the double, you're really inviting McEwen to use the corner guards, and you could wind up dropping 3.
I
So
think
you want to be
Yeah, I think Mark's got to play the top one. Yeah, And then it's just a question of, do you want to try and make the double?
Yeah, it's important that both the thrower and the person calling the shot are really locked in on that because that's a very
Hmm.
important point, Terry. Are you playing for the roll first or are you playing for the double first? You got to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Shot's on its way. Brady Lumley gets
Close.
contact, gets a
Yeah.
piece. That green one is going to
Great
spill. He's
shot.
got to get out of the rings. Yes, indeed. Fantastic shot from Brady Lumley. Worth another look, Terry.
Yeah. Again, right out of his hand. I think Mark was looking for this double, and I like the weight choice. I really do. I mean, so often you see these shots try to be made with really solid normal weight, takeout weight, and it just goes to show you, you can make those controlled weight, those board weight takeouts, and get real good results as well.
Yeah, you
Just
really
just
read
a
my
fine
mind there,
shot.
Terry. I was thinking the same thing. Good
Yeah.
weight choice there because that
Yeah.
kept the inside roll alive if you don't make the double takeout.
Hmm.
Good come around there,
Yep.
fully covered.
Yep.
But yeah, just to complete that thought, yeah, you don't have to throw missiles. Once the rocks are out of the rings, they're out of the rings, right? So you don't have to move them 5 miles out of the rings. You just got to push them out of the rings. So sometimes keeping control of your weight is absolutely everything and keeps more options alive in the process. So yeah, very good point, Terry.
And I think too, when you're trying to remove two rocks, you instinctively, in your mind, you think you have to throw it hard. Um, but as witnessed just by that shot, I mean, that was well controlled weight, and it's about hitting rocks. So I mean, he hit it just perfectly, and made the double.
Mark Kean trying to run back, but this one narrow out of hand. Blows by the shooter, opens it up, but does keep the two alive for Team McEwen. So
Yeah,
the
and he
come around paying off there for Mike McEwen's team.
Yeah, and a deuce is really crucial here to, I think, to, play eight. Yeah, two down coming home without, that's tough, man. But, one down, the odds aren't in your favor, but certainly I like them a lot better than I do being two down.
No doubt. First skip stone for Mike McEwen. Last rock here in the sixth. Good opportunity if he can duck this one behind cover. Keeps that crucial two alive. Colton Flash taking charge out of hand. Seem pretty happy with distance. Haven't pivoted yet to sweep for Barry. Well by the stone in the 8 foot.
You don't want to go too far. Oh, that's perfect. I mean, what execution that is. They really had to be, parallel with each other to avoid a double, and it looks awfully good. Because I mean, Mark cannot throw, any huge weight at this, um, and I cannot see him playing the one that has the danger written all over it. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, look for a moment that Mark was thinking about following that one down, but discretion being the better part of valor here.
Yeah, I
Just
can't
swallow
believe
your pride.
I can't believe for a minute Mark even thought about that. So he knows the game so well.
So we're pretty sure this is just a hit on the open stone. And the slide tells us that that is indeed the shot. Wants to stick around and force a return shot from Mike to get his 2. No hesitation there from Mike McEwen. Drops down the brush. Just needs to remove the Kean stone, hang around to the 8-foot, and he'll throw a 2 on the board here in the 6th.
Mm-hmm. Then we should have an exciting last end.
Yes, indeed. 7th end should be a barn burner if Mike makes this one.
Mm-hmm.
Final stone on its way. Mike McEwen with an open hit for a pair.
Again, love the weight choice here, but this is going to curl. It's starting to now. There you go. Yep. Well played.
No problem at all for Mike McEwen. Sticks it on the nose, puts a pair on the board, and this one has tightened up again. Mark Keane carrying now a narrow 6-5 lead into the 7th end here at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic at Sault Ste.Marie. 7th end underway in Sault Ste. Marie at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic. Mark Keane, Mike McEwen. It is a ding-dong battle. Keane holding a 6-5 lead. They've got last rock in the 7th. Hans Frauenlob here with Terry Corbin. Terry, fantastic weekend curling in Sault Ste. Marie, and what a game this is.
Sure is, and I apologize. I thought that was the 7th end, so my bad. But hopefully, we're still in line for a good finish here. Just speaking of finishes, we have a couple games that are done. Um, Kevin Cooey has defeated Tyler Smith 8-1. That was an early done game after 4 ends by the looks of it. And we also have Matt Dunston beating Marcus Ramsfeld 8-2. On the other sheets, Joel Retornez, he's got a 3-2 lead over John Epping and has the hammer. Corey dropping. He's got a big lead. He just stole 3 in the 5th, and he leads Sandy McEwen 7-1. We've got Alex Champ and Matthew Hunt. They're tied 4-4. Alex Champ has the hammer playing 6, and that pretty much gets us up to date.
Well, thanks for that, Terry. Good to know all the action going on across the sheets here at Sioux Curlers Association, and good crowd on hand as well, supporting the athletes. Northern Ontario, such a rich tradition of fantastic competitive curlers. Early in end number 7, and you do get the feeling that one way or the other, this end will be decisive. Keane with the hammer. If they can score a pair, they can pretty much take it out. But if Mike McEwen can steal here, tied up coming home, and it will be all on. So action early in the end, piling up around that center guard. We've seen that from Mark Keane right through the game.
Mm-hmm.
With last rock, he's been very comfortable going around center guards, Terry.
Yes, he really has. And I mean, ultimately, I think we talked about it at the first of the game. You know, the key really was going to be, in my opinion, um, are revolving around Colton Flash. And I think, the story of the game so far has been Brady Lumley's outcurled Colton. And then you add that to Mark's 2 big shots in the 2nd and the 5th end, I believe. And Mark's deserving of this 6-5 lead.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Terry. They have been full value in this game. They've played very, very well. Matthew Garner looking to lob one towards the pile. 2 green stones of Team McEwen in excellent places for them. So they're going to have to do some repositioning here. Mike McEwen trying to get that stone out of the rings.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. So he's sizing it up. Those stones in the rings in a bit of a diamond formation there.
The
So
girls will
he
be
knows
happy.
he's got options.
Yeah, the girls will be happy that you mentioned their best friend diamonds.
Well, the rock placements and the rock angles are always fascinating to me. I love mixed doubles curling, and one of the reasons I love mixed doubles curling is the quarter freeze versus a half freeze versus a stone being a rock forward or a stone being a rock further back can change everything in terms of your shot options.
Sure can. I mean, I was never really a fan of mixed doubles or doubles, period, until I played it. Um, it's and I guess the thing I appreciate about watching the good players play is like how quick they have to make decisions. Like it's fast. Um,
Oh yeah.
it truly is, and certainly for people like myself who can get easily bored. There's no time to be bored in that game. Some fantastic shots called, some fantastic shots made. I love the even the strategy of do we do the power play now or I and again we've seen the setup for that power play and people now chipping in the rock and
Mhm.
I'm just thinking like what's the next rule that they're going to implement to make it even better.
Mixed doubles has certainly evolved quickly and has become
It really has.
it's become a discipline of its own, as I think everybody in the sport hoped it would. It's developed its own personality and its own specialty and its own strategy, and that's great to see. And as we return our focus here to our game, we can see that Team McEwen have lined up a couple of center guards now, and so pretty important now for
Hmm.
Team Keane to get a 2-for-1 deal somewhere along the line, but they're not going to do it on this shot. That'll just jam and stuff. So that advantage Team McEwen leaves the stones accumulating in front of the rings, which is good for Mike, not so good for Mark.
Hmm. And see, I told you it's hard to stay focused. So there you go.
But yeah, I kind of come back to the mixed doubles thing, Terry. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, and um, what I've noticed now is younger players that are kind of entering the sport. Um, they've never known the sport without mixed doubles, and often that'll be what they play first. As we see the time clock running here, so time pressure a bit of a factor now for Team McEwen. We're on the seventh end, so they should have plenty of time to complete their shots, but they do have a bit more time pressure than Team
Yeah.
Keane. But what I was getting at with young players playing doubles, what I hear a lot from players that play doubles is, instead of playing fours where you might be playing front end and you're not involved in the strategy of the game really for a couple of years sometimes, in doubles, you're in strategy on every shot. As we see some contact, stones moving around, 2 stones in the rings unlocks the stones. So in one sense, that improves things for Mark Keane, but Team McEwen still lying, well, first and third now.
Hmm. Well, and just to finish the conversation on the mixed doubles, I think the young curlers getting involved in that, it can't help but to improve their understanding of shots, selection, angles, the whole works. I just think it's a really good uh, uh, teaching tool as well. So
Yep, completely agree. Big shot coming up here for Brady Lumley.
yeah, I'm sure
Chance to
Mark.
kind of turn the end around here for Team Keane if he can remove the shot rock and wiggle his shooter into a good place.
Hmm. Looks like he's pretty much got it on the nose.
Looking for a little inside
Oh, he
flop. They
did.
get
He
that
got
little
it.
inside flop. Not bad. That's a pretty good shot. Now we can see a bit all in here for Mike McEwen.
Yeah, this is a tough shot. You're playing with like air to get by that top yellow.
Mark Keane with the hammer here in 7,
Oh,
up 1.
you don't want to overcook that. Oh, real good. Well done.
Yep, arm in the air from Mike McEwen, acknowledging how good that shot was. So on the exchange of hits, that stone creeping further forward in the house, and so probably
Yeah.
doesn't want to just nose this one.
But I mean, again, it's about rock placement. But if by chance he does, I mean, Mike can't just go and rip the double because there's a chance that that yellow on the center line comes and takes his own out. So we're not going to find out.
Yep, just happy to roll it away, have it sit in the rings in 3rd shot position. So that's a potential saver there for a big multi-end.
Mm-hmm.
2 to come for each team. Mark Keane with the hammer. Mike McEwen looks to me like he just wants to whip one around the pile here, Terry.
He does. I mean, again, when you think about outcomes, he just has to be careful that he doesn't set up a double off the green stone that we can see that's in the house now. And he's also got to make sure that, well, I guess as long as he's deeper, he won't have that yellow. Mark won't have that yellow one to promote right on top of it. But I still like Mark's situation here.
Yeah, things have definitely improved for Team Keane than they looked early in the end, and has swung around on that nice shot from Brady Lumley. Magic Mike trying to sink one behind the pile. Great looking line. Where's the weight? Looks pretty good too. And he leaves it sitting on the tee line fully buried and has taken it deep enough that I don't think Mark can promote yellow onto green. Good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another look. Through the hole, and Mike seems pretty happy with it. I sure would be. Button is available for Mark Keane if it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Still 2 to play, and so he's thinking, can we make thin double here, guys?
I think the way it curls, that promoting the yellow one is still there. But if I mark, I probably do play uh, the green stone and try and roll in.
The risk, of course, if you're playing the yellow on the 8-foot on an angle to try and get to the shot rock, if you catch it, then you spill it out, then all of a sudden you're leaving your opponent lying 2.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't play it with any weight if I was playing the hit on the green and try and get the roll. I wouldn't play it with any weight. It would be, barely, uh, I barely bored, be bored to hack. Again, the time clock showing Mark's got lots of time left. But Mark's choosing to run this yellow one in, which again, I don't think's a bad call.
Well, the inside thin double is certainly not there because of that yellow guard now as we look at it from the
Yeah.
delivery end. So that's definitely not an option. So you're going to have to do something else. And so that's something else that Mark Keane is electing is going to be a play on that yellow guard. Going to push it in somewhere on an angle. And the question is, where's the contact point that he's looking for? It's on its way.
Nose is pretty close to making this.
Bang.
Oh, yeah.
2. Goes across the top, opens it up. So decision now for Mike McEwen. Is a force good enough? Or you need to steal 2?
Yeah, I think you need to force. and take your chances.
Well, I like what he's looking at here because, if you're going to steal, why not try to steal two? A lot of teams would just say, okay, great, we'll steal the one, take our
Oh,
chances tied up,
okay.
cap it, take away the path to the button or something like that. Mike McEwen's thinking that's, stealing one's not good enough. If we're going to steal one, let's be aggressive and try to steal two.
Yeah, I misinterpreted. I thought you meant like, do we try and force for one, and then try and get our two in 8 or
Right.
possibly the 3? But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think um, forcing Mark into the most difficult shot possible is the ideal scenario. It's where does the rock need to be to make that scenario possible?
So Mike McEwen going to draw around that stone in the front 8 foot, saying back to Mark Keane, okay, I will give you that short run back, but
Hmm.
if I put this in a good place, if you stuff up that short run back, I might steal two on you.
But this is where, I mean, Mike has had Mark on the ropes a couple of times for a steal of one, and then just has not placed the rock in the perfect spot, and that's resulted in, Mark making a great shot.
So decision time here for Mark Keane.
Hmm.
You've got that
Yeah.
short run, but the angle on the short run on the front of the two green stones means that if you popped it wrong, you could roll across the top. You could follow the stone that Mike threw and just try to push it back to score your one, but you're a couple of feet heavy with that. Clip, flip, you steal two again. So really good rock placement from Mike McEwen and a tough choice coming up here for Mark Keane.
And it looks like Mark's elected to kind of take one here by trying to make this double. It looks like he's abandoned the option of scoring.
Well, yeah, but gosh, boy, if you're ever over curling, if you ever clip that front yellow, you're dropping
Oh,
three all of a sudden.
exactly. That's why he's throwing it, and I'm up here.
So, shot of the game coming up for Mark Keane. We did see him crash a corner guard on a dig attempt in the prior end. Needs to put that thought out of his mind. Final stone on its way here on the seventh end for Mark Keane.
Yeah, this has got no attempt at the front one, so making the
Oh, nice shot. Very,
make the
very
double.
nice shot.
Take one. See you later.
Oh boy, that did not clear that front stone by a lot, but it was a terrific shot from Mark Keane, a crucial single point. He leads at 7-5, coming home here at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic in Sault Ste. Marie. Eighth end is underway in Sault Ste. Marie. We are at the Henderson Medal Fall Classic on Curling Stadium. Hans Frauenlob here with Terry Corbin. It has been a thoroughly entertaining game. Mark Keane of Ontario leading Mike McEwen of Saskatchewan by a score of 7-5. McEwen's got the hammer here in 8. Terry, this is still anybody's game.
Yeah, it sure is. We've been treated to some really, really good shot making here.
Mike McEwen just hanging around. Mark Keane made a really nice shot for his single there in the seventh.
Oh, for sure.
It was a tough one. And here's another look at that final shot. Well, actually, this is the come around that set it up from Mike
Yeah.
McEwen, and it was a beauty.
Yes, it was. My two favorite people kind of anymore to watch uh, when they need 2 points is McEwen and then Dunstone. They may have to make a miracle shot, but there'll be a shot.
That's a very good point there. Both of those teams are incredible at accumulating rocks, but not just accumulating rocks, but keeping options alive. And when you got more than one option on your final shot, then you've got shot making class of both of those teams, good things can happen.
Yeah, I can't remember who. I just remember Dunstone making this high angle shot. I don't even remember who it was against, but it was like 2 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, like that's all you had, and called and made.
Yeah, exactly that. Tough shots don't phase them because they've got such faith in their ability to execute.
Hmm.
That one just feathers corner guard. Does leave the center guards now overlapped. So that's a bit helpful if you're Team Kean. But on the other hand, you don't love the idea of guards accumulating because you're trying to prevent your opponent from scoring too.
Yeah, and you know what? Being overlapped, if I'm McEwen, I don't mind that either because I know I can get rid of both of them um, if the situation arises. So I'm not sweating it yet.
Yeah, if you're Team Mike McEwen, you're liking every guard you see out there at this
Yeah,
point of the
pretty
game.
much. This is dynamite.
Yeah, terrific, terrific curling from both Daniel and Kevin Marsh right throughout this whole game. We haven't mentioned their names often, but they have been setting every end up with those
Yes.
free stones, front 4 foot, front 8 foot, creating all kinds of mayhem for Mark Keane. Matthew Garner. You mentioned the youth of this front end, Terry. I
Yes.
mean, they'll have grown up watching Mike McEwen making circus shots in Briars and in slams and things like that. How does that weigh on a young players in a team playing legends like Mike McEwen in these situations?
Well, you know what? I think they've seen enough of them that that those types of things aren't going to bother them too much. Certainly, given the fact that we're in the eighth end, I mean, I used to always try and tell the kids I was coaching that if you're playing the eighth end, we've done well, and now it's let your instincts take over. Um, and I certainly think that you know they're no stranger. I mean, they've well, Mark's played at the Briar. I know Spencer's played high level um, in his junior years. They're winners, and this is to me at this stage of the game. It's about um, trying to beat an opponent, not trying to beat Mike McEwen.
Huge decision moment coming up here for Mark Keane.
Hmm.
You got shot rock, but right in front of your shot rock, you got 3 green ones clustered. Those are potentially game over shots.
Yep.
So do you choose to try and defend that one lonely stone in the front of the button? You've got 3 in the front yourself. They're pretty well guarded, but you got that green running on the angle. What do you do on this shot? This is a huge decision for Team Keane.
Yeah, because I think he's got to get it past that one yellow because I think uh, you know he could or McEwen could potentially run that yellow in, and all they're going to have to do is just tick that green.
Well, the guard is elected. And so that tells us that, we talked about going all in. So far, it's all
Hmm.
about defending that shot rock for Mark Keane. And you can see the green stones right in front of that shot rock from the overhead. And Colton Flash, like a hungry dog looking at a pork chop here, he wants to really
Hmm.
hum something at something.
Yes, this is his wheelhouse. This is his specialty. Sometimes you can make these too early, but I don't think this is one of them. It's
Oh,
close. It's close.
bang,
Yep.
bang, bang. And look at that. As
Yeah.
quickly as that, Team McEwen line 3 guarded.
Yes.
Wow. Terrific shot from Colton Flash. Worth another look, Terry.
Oh God. I was gonna say I'm not getting tired of looking at these replays, that's for sure.
How good.
Little body English on that by by the Marsh brothers.
Fantastic. So now Team Keane are going to come down and have a chat because with that one shot, with huge decision to throw that extra guard rather than try to eliminate the front stones, Colton Flash made them pay.
Yep.
And now, in a heartbeat, you've gone from having control of the game to looking at loss.
Hmm. I like the shot Mark just kind of uh, mentioned is you might be able to. hit what you can see of that yellow rock in the triangle, it'll bounce off the one that's beside it and roll back into the pile, and that might eliminate two rocks and get yourself a counter or at least a rock of your color in the rings. Oh, I see Matt Wilkinson's out on
Yep.
the ice with them, so
Timeout.
yeah,
Timeout's been
he's
called.
coaching the team. Yeah, good. Matt's been a long time coach, especially in the junior ranks. Coached a lot of good teams out of the KW area. I like this shot, I really do, because I think it does. I think it just goes back into the pile, and you're not going to be first or second shot in all likelihood, but um, you probably are going to be third shot, but at least you've got a rock in there that's usable, and
Well,
you've eliminated one of theirs.
yeah, and importantly, you're kind of unlocking the center in the process if you
Oh
make this as
yeah,
well. So crucial shot here for Brady Lumley. Needs
yeah.
contact. Has he
I
got
just gonna say
contact?
no. Oh, that's not the way. Geez whiz, that
Needed
might have.
more contact on that stone than he got. Just grazed it. Leaves two in the front.
I was
So
just yeah.
timeout's going to be called now by Team McEwen.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, oh man, you really don't want to overthrow this, and yeah, I'm just making a hypothetical here, but I just feel that that was a little bit of an adrenaline rush.
So now Team McEwen sense that this is their moment after that
Mm-hmm.
fantastic raise from Colton Flash. Now they're lying three, double stacked guards in front of them. Green one on the logo in the front defending the shot rocks. So in this situation, the question I always ask myself is if we didn't throw anything, could we make things, if could it be
Yeah,
worse, right? So you don't want to create something that creates a shot for Mark Keane. But on the other
no.
hand, this is a chance to really,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure's on Mark Keane in a huge way now. And now you can kind of ratchet it up tenfold.
And Mike's kind of aware of, what's going on. I mean, he even in their little discussion, I know, even though I can't hear him, I saw him tap the yellow rock, that Mark's got this off of his own into the pile, and so he's acutely aware of what the situation is and really what Mark has got. And right now, I'd say Mark hasn't got much but that right now.
Yep, that hit and roll saver on that Yellowstone as we look at it on the overhead on the right hand side of the 12-foot is the bailout shot for Mark Keane, but that's like a 10%er.
Oh, I know.
You don't really want to throw that stone if you're Mark Keane, but you may not have an option.
Yeah.
Colton follows up that fantastic run with good, delicate placement on that come around. Now, Mark Keane, you got two to throw. You got four of them clustered there. You don't
Yeah.
really have the luxury of a setup shot because you've only got two to come. So you got to make a play on this rock. What do you do? Looks to
Yeah.
me like he thinks he's going to somehow come through that port on the outturn side, get by the corner guard, and get by the stones in the rings and get into the back of the 4 foot. This is a really hard shot.
It really is. If he does not make this, it'll be interesting to see whether Mike takes away the yellow in off and leaves him this, mark potentially that outturn draw again.
Mark Keane. He's made some huge shots in this game. Nothing bigger than this one now. This is potentially a game saver if he
Hmm.
makes it, or if not, he could be locking himself out. Shot's on its way.
Mark's always had pretty good command of draw weight.
Yeah, the weight's the important thing, but for me, Terry, it's all about the line. You're gonna have to get really close to the corner guard to make this shot.
Well, you know what? He got really close.
And he actually feathers it.
Yeah. Ugh,
Pushes his stone
yikes.
into the 8-foot, but he's still only fourth shot. Timeout.
Yep. I mean, I think the yellow getting rid of the yellow one might be your best option here at first glance.
Colton saying he's got the
Slash.
green yellow run in.
Yeah.
Thing is, even if Mark makes that, does he still leave Mike lying too, even if he makes it perfect?
By the looks of it, no. By the looks of it, yellow would be second shot.
I'm thinking if I'm Mike McEwen, as you were saying, Terry, what's the bailout shot for Mark here? And as I'm looking at it, the bailout shot for Mark is the hit and roll off the stone in the 12-foot. That's
I agree. I mean, that's just an instinctual thing for me. I know Mark looked at it. He didn't play it on the first one because it's all or nothing. You probably don't have a shot if you don't make it. You might as well leave it for your last one. And if
so
I'm
Mike.
sorry,
Go ahead, Terry.
I was just gonna say, and if I'm McEwen, do I want to stay there?
Well, nose isn't fatal, right? You're eliminating here is the thing, because if you leave it high in the house and Mark hits and rolls across it, you're probably rolling across the top of the pile anyways. So Mike McEwen here trying to play Houdini. He's trailed right throughout this game, but here in the 8th end, an opportunity to make the final stone for Mark Keane really difficult. And if he can make this great, make the final shot for Mark Keane so difficult, it could be improbable that Mike McEwen might be able to win this game without even having to throw his final stone.
Yeah. They knew exactly what they wanted to do too. Like, I mean, they were satisfied with nose. They played nose. You still got everybody in their seats there, so we're all good. 2 rocks to come.
Game shot coming up for Mark Keane. The only good thing for Mark Keane is you just have to prevent Mike from scoring 3. If you can somehow manufacture something where the best Mike can do is score 2, you live to fight another day. But the way those stones are angled and clustered, those 2 stones are in the front of the 4-foot. And so even cutting them down means you have to get your stone into the 4. There's no other option. There is not a lot of good here for Mark Keane.
No.
You almost have to think about going around the pile in turn side and throwing it to the back of the 4-foot. I think that's what I'm probably trying if I'm Mark in this situation. Draw around the 4 green stones, try to throw it in the back of the 4-foot, hope that you can outcount the 2 in the front of the 4-foot. Because I think if you're running yellows back, I don't see anything here
No,
that
neither do I.
doesn't leave Mike at least lying 2.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I'm a little surprised. I figured, like you said, I figured he had the in turn draw or the out turn draw. I don't like either of them because you're playing with very limited space. But I think I would be going down that road first. But you know what? If he hits what he can see, he might just end up with that yellow rock staying, right there and behind everything. And he might be second shot. I'd need to see an overview again.
Yeah, everything is about the angle of contact as they run in. Hits what he sees. The yellow one's going to go sideways, might bounce off the one in the front of the 8-foot, might go straight to the shot rock. We're about to find out. Final stone on its way, coming at you. Mark Keane trying a super tough shot to stay in the game.
And he's thrown it a lot quieter than I thought he would. I thought this would be humming. You know what? This is
Got a
so
piece.
close.
He's got a piece.
He's sitting.
Oh, he
He's
has
got
at
third shot.
least
He's
He
got
has at
third shot.
least gotten third shot.
Yeah.
So he probably couldn't done a lot better than that. He's at least forcing Mike to throw his last. Here's the replay, Terry.
Yeah, you're talking about an inch, hitting an inch of a rock, and anything more or less is no good. Like I think you're right. I think that's as good as he was ever gonna do.
So worst case for Team McEwen, you're going to an extra end. Best case, push that green one up another inch or
Yeah.
get another one into the 4-foot somehow, some way. You're walking off with an incredible comeback win.
What are they playing?
I am not sure, to be perfectly honest, Terry. I'm looking at the broom placement here, and
Wow. Yeah.
it doesn't look like draw tap to me at all.
No.
Well, we're about to find out. Final stone on its way. Mike McEwen.
But it's definitely the intern. He must be going off of that with the, hack waiter.
So he's playing an inside chap and roll off his own shot to try and push his other shot forward. Here it is. There's the bump. There it
What
is.
a
Mike
great
McEwen.
shot. What a great shot.
Magic Mike McEwen does it yet again. Unbelievable, out of nowhere victory for the man from Saskatchewan. What a fantastic game, Terry.
That was so fun to watch. I don't mind saying that, Hans. That was good. That was just some great curling. Great curling. And like
Team
you said,
Kean will be,
magic Mike.
yes, Magic Mike does it yet again. Here it is, the
Oh,
shot for the
wow.
win.
And I didn't even think that was what he was looking at. I thought he was playing the straight draw. But wow,
Fantastic.
yeah,
Team
really.
Kean will be absolutely devastated. They controlled the entire game, but this man, Mike McEwen, always seems to find a way, and he has done it yet again. They roll on the A side with an incredible comeback victory. Final score, Team McEwen 8, Team Kean 7. For Terry Corbin, I'm Hans Frauenlob. Thank you very much for joining us at the Henderson Metal Fall Classic. If you liked that, there's much more to come. Please stay with us on Curling Stadium right throughout the weekend. Thanks for joining us from Sault Ste. Marie.